A sapper patrol is en route to assist a stalled convoy. The combat engineer steps out of the truck and shouts, demanding to know which idiot is responsible for the mess that ruined his day. The squad leader steps forward and takes the blame. It quickly becomes apparent that the two men are actually brothers. He then gives his younger brother a lesson in the laws of science, specifically thermodynamics, explaining that energy cannot be created or destroyed, so it must go somewhere. By filling the convoy trucks with stop leak, they essentially sealed the vents, causing heat to accumulate until the radiator finally gave out. He then jokingly tells his brother he knew it had to be his brilliant idea to pour stop leak into the truck. His brother sighs, confessing this is not what he truly wants to be doing. He reminds him that their shared dream was always to be selected for RASP, even pointing to the matching tattoos they both have that read, "Don't quit." But the older brother dismisses it, saying he is already too old and that the program is incredibly demanding. He also notes that they were only 18 years old when they made that promise. Even so, his brother urges him to picture the feeling of earning their own ranger scrolls and the honor that comes with being a ranger. Eventually, he succeeds in convincing his brother, but moments later, Taliban fighters suddenly launch an attack on the convoy. In the intense firefight that follows, nearly all the soldiers are killed. With his knee severely wounded, he drags himself toward his brother. 2 years later, he is now riding a bus headed to the Army Ranger selection base in Colorado. The cadre instructs the candidates to proceed to the induction hall and surrender all their personal items. From this point forward, they are told they no longer have names, only numbers. One of the sergeants notices that a candidate holds the rank of technical sergeant in the Air Force and informs him that he will be assigned as a team leader. The candidate acknowledges this and is given the number 7. In another line, a sergeant reviews his application and notes that due to a prior leg injury, he had been turned away 4 times before finally reaching the age cutoff. The sergeant informs him that as a patrol leader, he will be expected to lead the team, but he declines the role. He is assigned number 81. Sergeant Major Sheridan then addresses the candidates. He explains that Army Rangers are essentially the tip of the spear of the United States Army, the first soldiers placed on the ground, and that RASP is one of the most demanding selection programs in the world, built to push candidates to their mental, emotional, and physical limits over 8 grueling weeks. Only those who reach the final stage will face the 24-hour death march, a punishing mission completed by crossing that finish line, after which they can claim the coveted Ranger Scroll. With that, the program officially gets underway. During the first week, several candidates are eliminated. The next 3 weeks are packed with brutal obstacle courses and exhausting drills, and anyone who falls short of the standards is immediately cut from the program. Now only 4 weeks remain. During one of the long marches, 15 tells the others that if they make it into the regiment, they will gain access to classified information, like Area 51, and even hidden facts about the moon landing. The other candidates simply brush off the idea. Meanwhile, 81 breaks away from the group, quietly finishes his lap, and then rejoins them. "Hey, slow down, Superman. You're making the rest of us look bad." Another week goes by. During rifle training, a sergeant asks how many candidates have actually been deployed in combat. The sergeant mocks him, saying he asked about deployment, not potty training. After questioning a few others and still getting no satisfying answer, the sergeant turns to 81. "Death Mountain Division Spartans." Everyone turns to look at him. Later, during lunch, 44 tells the group how 81 was out repairing a stalled convoy when the Taliban suddenly unleashed a devastating strike, wiping out his entire unit. 60 adds that 81 also received a Silver Star. Meanwhile, on a nearby television, a news reporter announces that NASA has detected an interstellar object originating from beyond the solar system. The object is expected to pass close to Earth, but officials insist there is no reason for concern. 15 cannot believe that 81 received a Silver Star. 44 explains that he was the sole survivor and carried his brother nearly 10 miles back to a military base. Curious, 15 asks 81 directly whether the story is true. What happened? A sergeant immediately notices them talking and reminds them that conversation is not permitted. As punishment, he assigns everyone extra hill climbs. The following 2 weeks kick off with even more demanding training. During one exercise, a cadre member asks the candidates why they are here. Most of them respond that they want to join an elite unit, but 81 gives a different answer. He simply says he wants to cross the finish line. That night, 7 notices 81 taking his PTSD medication. The next morning, 7 asks if DQT means don't quit. 81 looks caught off guard and asks how he knows. 7 shrugs and says he just guessed. By week 6, the candidates work through rope climbing, breaching drills, and rifle training. Many of them fall short and are cut from the program. One night, 81 is shaken by a nightmare. He jolts awake just as the sergeant bursts in and orders everyone up, announcing that the final week has begun. In the next challenge, the candidates must walk along the bottom of the pool while carrying weights. Many of them surface too soon. As 81 struggles underwater, his thoughts drift to his brother. The memory drives him forward, but eventually he loses consciousness and is pulled out by 7. Sheridan tells First Sergeant Torres that he wants to speak with 81, saying the candidate appears to be a liability. In the waiting room, 81 watches the news. A reporter explains that the asteroid discovered a month earlier is now showing signs of structural fragmentation. He is then called in. Sheridan tells 81 that it may be in his best interest to withdraw from the program. 81 argues that he has not failed any events. Soldier. Torres explains that they are not questioning his physical ability, but instead are concerned about what is happening inside his head. Torres says that the training cadre officers have informed them that 81 has not been sleeping well, and based on peer reviews, he is not forming bonds with the other candidates. Torres adds that he avoids every chance to serve as a team leader, saying this is not the mark of a stable candidate. Stable candidate from the course effective immediate. Sheridan speaks up, pointing out that what he endured is a tremendous burden for anyone to carry. He explains that most people in his situation would have taken time away and sought therapy. Instead, after the incident in Afghanistan, he started applying for this program on the very morning of his discharge. 81 quietly replies he just wants to cross the finish line. Sheridan then tells 81 that both he and Torres believe he shows real promise. However, he warns that if they remove him from the program now, he will never be permitted to return. So he places a voluntary withdrawal slip in front of him. Sheridan reminds him that he is an engineer, and therefore he should understand that even the most powerful machine has its limits, and he has reached his. But 81 refuses. In the end, only a small group of candidates, including 81, advance to the final round. Torres then lays out the details of the final mission, which will be a simulation. A classified aircraft has been shot down behind enemy lines, and the Rangers are tasked with conducting a reconnaissance and rescue mission. Their objective is to locate the crash site and destroy the aircraft before it falls into enemy hands. 2 Black Hawk helicopters will insert them deep into enemy territory. From there, they must navigate through the mountains to reach the downed aircraft. Their next objective is to locate the pilot, who is being held prisoner in a nearby village. Torres explains that their rifles will only fire blanks, but the cadre may ambush them at any point during the mission. The squad leader will be issued a single VHF radio to transmit regular situation reports. He then announces that 81 will serve as the team leader. 15 sarcastically remarks, "Great, the finish line guy." Torres reminds them that they have 24 hours to rescue the pilot, return to base, and cross the finish line. If they fail or are captured during a cadre ambush, the mission will be considered a failure. Sheridan adds that if they successfully cross the finish line, they will earn their Ranger Scrolls. With that, the program officially gets underway. The Blackhawks drop the team deep into the Rocky Mountains. After landing, the team regroups and moves into the forest. 57 studies the map and tells the others that their target location is roughly 20 clicks west. 81 sets the watch to 24 hours and asks if anyone has any questions. Everyone stays silent. Then 7 stands up and tells the group that they are all here for a reason, and their goal is to earn the Ranger Scrolls together. 81 nods appreciatively at 7, and the team continues moving. They climb up a rocky mountain and reach the summit. Soon, evening slowly fades into night. 111 transmits their situation reports to the cadre over the radio. 7 suggests they take a short break, pointing out that the cadre might be waiting near the river to ambush them. 81 agrees, saying they will rest for only 20 minutes. While the others sleep, 81 keeps watch. 7 asks if he can pose a personal question, but 81 simply replies, no. The team assumes the cadres must have spotted them stopping and launched the flares. 81 immediately orders everyone to move. By morning, they finally spot the wreckage of the downed aircraft. 7 jokes that the cadres really went all out with the special effects. 81 warns that the cadres are probably positioned to ambush them upriver. He instructs 111 to send another situation report. Then he quickly lays out a plan. The demolition team will plant explosives on the aircraft and detonate them from a safe distance. The blast will likely draw the cadres' attention. So, he assigns 4 soldiers to provide overwatch, places 3 soldiers downstream, and positions the rest upstream. Then, 57 flags something unusual. According to the briefing coordinates, the target position is off by several hundred meters. He also notes that his compass has begun behaving strangely. 111 informs the team that he could not get a signal, only a strange sound. Despite that, the team proceeds with the plan. As everyone moves into position, 81 suddenly catches a brief glint of light in the distance. He quietly signals to 7 that he is going to check it out. He heads deeper into the woods while the demolition team prepares the explosives. Moments later, 81 discovers what appears to be their real target, but by then, it is already too late. The team detonates the explosives. 81 runs back to warn the team. Didn't even leave a dent. Suddenly, a strange machine with glowing red lights rises. It scans their faces with bright beams and then suddenly opens fire, killing several soldiers. 81 immediately orders everyone to run. They sprint through the forest, but soon reach a dead end. The machine launches a bomb that detonates nearby, sending the remaining soldiers tumbling down a steep hill and leaving them injured. For a brief moment, 81's mind flashes back to Afghanistan, but he forces himself to stay focused on the present. He rushes to help 57, who has been impaled on a tree branch. 109 panics, saying the wound looks terrible, but 81 tells him to breathe and stay focused. During the fall, 7's leg is badly injured. The surviving soldiers are stunned by the mysterious machine that just wiped out half their team. 81 asks whether the demo team survived. They say no. 81 goes to search for the radio. Moving carefully through the smoldering debris, he finds 111 dead and the radio completely destroyed. Just then, 81 watches the machine kill another soldier. Unfortunately, 57 succumbs to his injuries. 81 returns quickly, urgently telling them they have to move because the machine can track them. He informs them that 111 is dead and the radio is destroyed. They secure a rope down the cliff and begin lowering themselves one by one. 6 offers to lower 7, and 81 nods before climbing down first. But just as 7 is being carefully lowered, the machine finds them. It fires again, killing 6, and 7 crashes hard onto the ground below. The machine moves to the edge of the cliff and scans the area. Unfortunately, 7's leg is detected. The machine immediately opens fire, forcing the team to scatter and take cover. Moments later, it launches several bombs that detonate around them, killing even more soldiers. After hours of walking, the team finally stops to rest. When 81 notices blood on 7's leg, he panics for a moment. 7 reassures him. Then he asks 109 for morphine. Unfortunately, the container was damaged during the fall. With no other option, 81 counts to 3 and snaps the leg back into place. The pain is so severe that 7 passes out. 15 suggests that the machine's weapons appear extremely advanced, so maybe it's some kind of secret experiment by DARPA. But 44 shuts him down, saying the Department of Defense would never do something like this to their own soldiers and tells him to drop the conspiracy theories. 15 fires back, asking why they were sent directly to the machine's location. Then 81 reveals that earlier he actually spotted the real crash site, an old jet, just as 57 had suspected. The coordinates were way off, a few hundred meters. 81 explains that the machine must be generating a powerful magnetic field, which is why their compasses started malfunctioning whenever it was nearby. Then he tells the team they need to head towards the village, which is 8 clicks west. 15 argues that there is no RASP, no finish line anymore. But 81 calmly replies that with no comms, no functioning weapons or flares, the nearest help available is the cadres stationed in that village. About an hour later, they arrive at a river with a powerful current. 81 tells the team they will have to use their ropes to construct a zip line across the water. He decides to cross first to anchor the line on the other side before the rest follow. He instructs 111 to keep watching the compass. Then he asks 44 to hand him the rope and give it a little slack since the current will push him hard. 81 battles the rushing water, and for a moment he disappears beneath the surface. Then he suddenly emerges on the far bank. 81 secures the rope, and soon the team successfully rigs the zip line. First, 7 and 15 begin crossing. Halfway over, however, 7 gets stuck in the middle. 15 attempts to untangle the line, but in doing so, he accidentally unclips 7's safety strap. Seeing this, 81 quickly starts moving to help. 44 also rushes to assist. At that exact moment, the machine suddenly appears and opens fire. The soldiers lose their footing and fall into the raging river. The machine wades into the water and continues its assault. 81's rope snags on a rock, so he quickly cuts himself free. Just then, the machine fires again, blasting him several meters away. Through the rushing water, 81 spots 7 and grabs onto him. A moment later, the remaining soldiers are swept over a waterfall. Underwater, 81 holds tightly onto 7. Minutes later, they are pulled from the water by other soldiers. 44 stares in disbelief when she sees 60 because they had assumed he was dead. 60 explains that when the machine first attacked, he was knocked into the rapids and swept far downstream. He then decided to head towards the village, and that is when he spotted the team crossing the river. He also revealed that earlier, he saw the operation plan inside Torres's office. All they had scheduled for us was fireworks and booby traps. Suddenly, a loud screech of birds echoes in the distance. 81 immediately tells everyone to have to move. They climb through the rugged mountains and push deeper into the dense woods. Soon, 81 spots a flare setup, likely placed there by the cadre. But when they finally reach what should be the village, they find it completely burned to the ground. Ammunition and debris are strewn everywhere. 44 notices that the radio tower has been destroyed, which explains why their long-range communications went silent. 60 shouts angrily that the cadres must have abandoned them, but 44 quietly replies that they did not leave. How high have we climbed? About 6,500 feet, roughly 8 clicks west, 44 replies. He says the machine must have hit the station first, then moved to the riverbank. That means it came down from that mountain. 60 also brings up the news reports about an asteroid they saw earlier and thinks this machine must be connected to it. Suddenly, they hear labored breathing nearby. They rush over and find one of the cadres still alive, but just barely. Unfortunately, he dies moments later. 81 orders them to get the ASV on the ground. 15 pushes back, saying they need a moment to grieve, insisting that unlike him, they are human and need time to process everything. He points out that not everyone is some Silver Star hero who carried his brother all the way back to base. 81 snaps, explaining that he never made it back to base. He passed out 100 yards from the perimeter, and the next thing he knew, he was waking up in a hospital. His brother did not survive, as he couldn't carry him across the line in time, and they gave him a medal for the worst day of his life. He tells them he knows they're hurting, but right now, this is not about them. They have to get 7 back to base and warn everyone about the machine. Determined. The team tries to start the truck, but the engine won't turn over. 81 says that because the truck was sitting on a slope, the fuel line may have dried out. 15 immediately says they just need to reprime the lines. When 81 looks at him in surprise, 15 explains that he used to be a wheel mechanic. A moment later, the engine roars into life. They manage to free the truck that had been wedged between the rocks. Nice work, Superman. You're making the rest of us look bad. What the heck? They all shared a laugh. Suddenly, the machine appears and launches bombs towards them. 60 informs 81 that the truck has no ammunition loaded. 15 volunteers to go back and retrieve it, despite 81 ordering him not to. 15 grabs the ammo and sprints back. Just as a shot strikes him, 44 floors the truck, pushing the vehicle as hard as it will go. They load the ammunition and open fire on the machine, but no matter how many rounds they land, it shows no signs of damage. The truck quickly takes heavy damage. Then the machine suddenly stops advancing and instead unleashes a barrage of bombs. 44 struggles to keep the vehicle under control as explosions erupt all around them. Then, she steers the truck through the thick forest. For a brief moment, everyone exhales with relief when the machine is no longer visible. But the relief does not last. The machine had been waiting for them at the top of the mountain. It suddenly launches itself down the slope and resumes its attack. 81 tells 109 to aim for the gap between the machine's plates. 109 tries to get a clear shot, but in doing so, loses his arm. The machine proves far too powerful. During the chaos, 81 also loses 7. Desperate, he grabs a gun and fires at the rocks, triggering a small rock slide that crashes down onto the machine. He shouts for 44 to stop the truck, but when he looks over, he realizes she is already dead. Moments later, the truck crashes and explodes. Don't quit. Sometime later, 81 regains consciousness and slowly makes his way across the uneven terrain, passing the bodies of his fallen teammates. When he reaches the rocks, he notices the machine is missing its other half. Then he spots that half in the distance, transmitting a signal toward outer space. A few feet away, he spots 7, still alive. The machine begins moving toward them, so 81 drags 7 to a safer position. At that moment, rain begins to fall, making the climb even harder. Exhausted and overwhelmed, 81 cries out in pain and frustration. Then his watch beeps. The 24 hours allotted for completing the mission have officially elapsed. He breaks down and weeps. 7 weakly speaks up, telling 81 that he recognized who he was the moment he saw him on the bus. Years ago, he went through air assault training with a loud-mouthed private, 81's brother. Back then, his brother had talked endlessly about his dream of becoming an Army Ranger alongside 81 and about the matching tattoos they had both gotten. 81 asks why 7 never told him sooner. 7 says he tried, but 81 never wanted to talk. 81 admits that if he could just cross the finish line for his brother, maybe he could finally sleep at night. 7 asks if he thinks he failed his brother. 81 says he did not just fail his brother, he feels like he has failed everyone around him. 7 reminds him that despite everything, he never gave up. The machine soon closes in on their location. 81 wonders aloud how they could possibly stop something like that. 7 asks him what his brother would do. Probably fill it with stop leak and hope for the best, 81 mutters. But the joke sparks an idea. He tells 7 to stay put and wait for him. 81 climbs down into the quarry and enters the building. Inside, he gathers some explosives. Then he finds the controls for a massive stone crusher and switches it on. Meanwhile, the machine reaches 7. Just before it attacks, 81 makes a loud noise to draw its attention. The machine turns and begins moving toward the building instead. As it scans the structure, the explosives planted by 81 detonate. 81 quickly jumps into a bulldozer and rams the machine, pinning it against the mountainside. As the stone crusher runs, rocks pour down and block the machine's venting system, causing it to overheat and fail. He leaps out of the vehicle just seconds before the machine explodes into pieces, but the bombs inside the machine spill out and scatter across the ground. The next morning, 81 carries 7 all the way back to base and finally crosses the finish line. Sheridan and Torres watch in stunned silence. 81 spots the destroyed pieces of the machine being transported away by helicopter. Sheridan steps out and asks if he is the only candidate remaining. 81 solemnly nods. Sheridan then apologizes for not reaching them sooner. He explains that the machines have already leveled most of their bases, and this is the only one they've been able to secure. 81 asks, "How many are there?" Sheridan answers grimly, "They're everywhere." He explains that they managed to neutralize the first wave, but intelligence indicates a far larger global invasion is being prepared. A news report soon confirms the terrifying reality. NASA reveals that the asteroid had split into countless pods, now dispersed across the globe. Each pod transformed into a deadly machine, striking civilians and military bases alike. Satellite imagery shows that more pods are still approaching Earth. Governments around the world are now mounting a coordinated global response to defend the planet. Impressed, Sheridan asks 81 how he managed to destroy the machine without any real weapons. 81 reminds Sheridan of something he once said: "Every machine has its limits." He explains that by blocking the machine's primary venting port, the entire system overheats and collapses. He tells 81 that this intelligence could save a great many lives. Then, 81 admits that Sheridan was right about him earlier. He was not ready. Sheridan promotes him on the spot, saying that now he is. He adds that his brother would be proud of him. "Everyone is talking about what you did out there. If you have it in you, son, I am sure they would appreciate a few words." Sheridan then assembles the Rangers and announces that they are the spearhead of Operation Global Shield, which has just gone live. They will be dropped on the outskirts of the city, and their mission is to evacuate civilians and clear the path for heavy ordnance. Sheridan looks at 81 and he steps forward to address the Rangers. He tells them that no matter how badly hurt they are, and no matter how exhausted they feel, they must never give up. Moments later, the Rangers board the Black Hawk helicopters. Midway through the flight, the team leader begins calling out the Rangers' names. But when he gets to 81, he realizes he doesn't actually know his name. Be sure to like and subscribe and enable notifications so you won't miss videos like this one. Thanks for